All right. Well, welcome to another episode here. It's Coach Mark. Happy to have you here. I have to tell you, today is going to be radically different than most of my other videos. And the reason is I'm not going to talk that much about baseball. So today's video is about how I implement all of these strategies that I talk to you about all the time in my own personal life, in my own businesses. And yeah, this probably won't get the big viewership that everybody, looking for information about how to get a Division I scholarship. And you can see there's plenty of those videos in my library of videos. But today, I just thought, you're watching a lot of my videos and you're thinking, how does this guy do these things in his life? Or maybe you never wondered, but I think you should. Like, does this guy just talk the talk or does he walk the walk? And I'm here to tell you today, I walk the walk. And I'm not here to brag at all. I'm not here to boast. I mean, I always want to be humble and thankful and grateful. But sometimes I like to talk about how these strategies actually work in my life. So I'm going to share with you a few stories about some of my personal experiences in business and in baseball. Now, obviously, it'll tie into all the things that you're watching me talk about all the time, techniques and things for your son. So without further ado, let's get into it. First thing I want to do is talk to you about vision. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So a lot of you guys have the vision for your son to play college baseball. That's a good vision. In my world, I have visions, let's say, for businesses. I've been self-employed since I was 26 years old. I just wasn't a good employee. I had graduated from Mercer University. I got out of school. I had a couple jobs. I did really well in those jobs. I made a lot of money right out of the gate. But I had ideas that they didn't want to implement, and I'm just too creative to be boxed in. So I got up the nerve to start my own first business. I quit my job. I moved to Germany, and I built a business over there that really took off in 3 years. Was literally doing millions of dollars in business. So right from an early gate, I had the idea that have the vision and then go implement a plan. So let's talk about some of the visions I have for the things that I'm doing right now. You may know my history. I spent 17 years building a national travel program, and I built that up to one of the top programs in the country, highly respected program. It's called US Elite. Maybe you're familiar with it. And 3 years ago, I decided to take a break from that. A guy took it over, and so it's still going strong as far as I know. And I took a break and I decided, what do I want to do with, the next chapter of my life? So back to vision, I thought, okay, I have a vision for a consulting company where I'm intimately involved with families. I have the background to do that. That would be fun. I also have the vision for running another travel program based on basically 20 years of experience and seeing big problems in the world of travel baseball. So I think I have a solution for that. I also had a vision for helping people understand their athleticism. In my opinion, that's one of the biggest problems for most people. They don't put enough stock in athleticism. They don't understand their own athleticism. And if you don't understand where you are, athletically speaking, it's pretty hard to improve. So I thought, let's do a combine. So we have a thing called the Ultimate Combine where we measure 14 different athletic measurements. Most people never even heard of some of these measurements, but they're huge at helping determine a lot of things: overall athleticism, risk for injury, projection, where we think a kid can go. All these things are in play. So right there's three business ideas that I had to go implement. I wrote a business plan for each one. Each one solves a problem. When I look back over my entrepreneurial career, everything I've ever done was just finding a problem and solving a problem. Maybe it was for me, or maybe it was for other people, but that's a good business strategy. When you recognize a problem, nobody has really solved it yet, and you have the solution, and then you have the nerve to go out and try it. And I've always had the nerve to go try it. And luckily for me, I've solved a lot of problems. And the fun thing about business for me, it's never, ever been about money. I've never done anything to make money. I've always solved problems. And I always felt like if you solve a problem, the world will reward you financially for the problem that you solve. And we used to say the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. In other words, when you bring tremendous value to the marketplace, you can get rewarded for that financially. And I've experienced that. So pretty cool stuff. But back to the businesses, the here and now. I'm really, really excited. I mean, things are going great at the Ambassadors Group. 3 years ago, this was a concept. Now we're in proof of concept, meaning we are actually doing the business plan. And I will tell you, we are helping. I say we because, I work with other people. The Ambassadors Group is a group of people. It's not just me. I have a team of people that we bring into the fold when we need them. Sports performance trainers, nutritionists, mental coaches, guys that help toughen up our clients. We call them grit camps. I mean, there's some really cool things that people are really specialized in that I have access to. I mean, we're bringing in somebody that is a community outreach expert, somebody that I can lean on and say, hey, I want to really get these kids involved in community outreach. How can you help us? So I'm a big believer. You've heard me talk about the village. I'm a huge believer in having a village for me too. So the Ambassadors Group is going great. I'm finding some amazing families, some amazing kids, some of them young. I have a 9-year-old kid. They're up in Minnesota. And let me tell you what, I know the haters out there think, what are you doing with a 9-year-old? Let me tell you what, you can do a lot with 9-year-olds in the way of laying the foundation. So the Ambassadors Group is going really, really well. The D1D teams, right now I'm in the process of recruiting coaches for the D1D program. That's the way we're going to grow it. It's so specific. The D1D national program is for elite level players that we feel like if you put them on a team with each other, first of all, they're going to relate to each other. I don't think it's a good idea to mix talent. You have teams with one or two really talented kids, and then you got teams in other programs with a lot of kids that aren't talented, don't even want to play college baseball. It's just not a good mix. I mean, Nick Saban has a great quote about that, how mixing mediocre minds versus minds of excellence, it just doesn't work. The D1D teams are for elite level players, and they are playing a schedule that makes sense. My vision for D1D was to be very specific, not your typical travel experience where you get on a team, random people, and put a schedule together, go play, and say you played 40 games in the summer or whatever. What's the purpose of that? I still haven't figured that out. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a critic of what I see going on out in travel baseball. I'm not a fan of expensive travel baseball at all. Okay, so we got the Ambassadors Group, we got D1D, the Ultimate Combine, which I've already talked about, and I actually have formulated a product line for young athletes for nutrition. That's something I'm very passionate about. I see these kids just pouring in the junk, the Red Bulls, the Monsters, the Gatorades, the junky proteins. There's just so many bad products, and people just mindlessly buy them. I hate to say it, and I don't mean to offend anybody. It's just like that's what you do, right? But I have a background in nutrition, so I got with a world-class formulator, and we put together a product line, and it's going to take some time to launch this, but if you're a part of what I'm doing here, you're going to be one of the first people to know about it. So I think that's pretty cool. I can't wait to do that because I believe nutrition is a gigantic part of performance. And for those of you that are a little older, maybe your career's over, my career's over, but I still care a lot about my health. I want to be clear-minded. I want to be high energy. I want to feel good. At 62, I'm not on any meds. I have the energy of a 20-year-old, and the mental clarity is there. And I can't help but think it's because of a clean diet, good nutrition. Well, why wouldn't I want to share that with these young athletes? I didn't know that stuff when I was their age. Now I do. Okay. So you got that going on. Obviously, I want to build an army of trained parents. So there's another vision. Begin with the end in mind. I have a vision of literally tens of thousands of parents in this youth sports community that are highly trained, highly connected, highly, energized to do this the right way. That's a big vision. But I feel like bringing that vision to fruition because I see a lot of misinformation out there. So I want to be part of the information world for parents. So the whole idea of having training courses for parents, that's where it's coming from. Like, let's train everybody so they understand what matters and what doesn't. Let's help people just relax and enjoy this experience versus being all crazy and stressed out about it. So that's a big vision. And I will share my last vision with you here today, and that is to incorporate my faith into everything I'm doing. Now, as a Christian, we are called to go out into the world, first of all, and be a light in a dark world. So, I'm sensitive to that every single day. Am I a light in a dark world, or am I a dark person in a dark world? Meaning, like, you hear everybody complaining about stuff. You hear everybody fighting about stuff. To me, that's darkness and darkness. The light of the world, they take a higher road, a higher path. And so I want to be that, obviously, personally, and I also want to share that with everybody that I'm involved with. And no, we're not beating people over the heads with Bibles and, thinking if you're not a Christian, you don't belong. That's the opposite. We want to be welcoming to people that, seekers, people that maybe they see a group of people, living a life that seems different, and they're curious of what that is. That's how we want to approach this. So I'm excited. About the devotional that I'm promoting. I started a small ministry for Jesus Calling. It's like having a meeting every day with Jesus. This book is written as if Jesus was actually talking to us. And so every day I feel like I'm having my strategy meeting with Jesus, and he's given me the blueprint for a successful day. And let me tell you, it's an awesome experience. And I'm sharing that devotional with my ambassadors group clients, with the D1D players, with the people that attend the Ultimate Combine. In other words, everything we're doing, that devotional is a part of it. We even offer it to people, our subscribers on YouTube. That's pretty cool that you can get a free copy of it in the link below. So, there's just a lot of great things going on. But again, I wanted to share this with you today. Number one, to give you an idea of what you could be a part of. I feel like this is a movement. The other thing is I wanted you to see that when I talk about putting a plan together for you and your son, I do it for me too. In fact, I can't imagine doing anything, that I wanted to do without a plan. And yet I still see thousands and thousands of people going through this youth sports journey with no plan. They're just winging it. I don't wish that on anybody. That's chaos. So in my business world and my personal world, I have plans. I execute the plans. I make adjustments along the way. And so far, knock on wood, I've had a lot of success reaching the goals that I've set with that formula. So that's what I'm doing with these young kids, whether it's at the ambassadors group, whether it's at D1D National, or whether they're coming to a combine and we say, okay, here's where you are. Here's accurate, honest evaluation of you. This isn't somebody's opinion. We're not ranking players by how we think. These are numbers. And now you know. In fact, that's our slogan. Now you know. And now we can do something about it. We can improve these numbers if you're willing to get to work. So I hope some of this made sense today. It was not designed for big views and, disruptive marketing. It was just designed. You're a subscriber, hopefully, of our channel. You want to be here for a long time. Now you know what we're up to. So, bye for now, and God bless.